Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Bright Side of Beauty podcast presented by Beyond Skin Aesthetics. Today's episode is so fun. It is something that I am very excited about as we head into 2026 as an offering that we actually brought in a couple months ago, and our patients have just fallen in love with this entire line. We are very passionate about the science behind this line. And beyond that, I have loved working with this team as a whole, getting to know their company, but also their director of training and development, because he challenges me every single time I talk to him to think outside of the box, to learn a little bit more, to blend all of these different ideas together of just knowledge of different skincare technologies and the science of skin as a whole together and applying it for my patients so that my patients have the best outcomes. And today I am joined by Ryan Willis. Ryan, welcome to the Bright Side of Beauty podcast.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you. I hope I can live up to that amazing introduction.
Oh, it comes so naturally from you, and we just have a blast talking to begin with. So I know that this is going to be one of the easiest podcasts that I have ever done because we get into the dirty science behind everything, and we have a little bit of fun and giggles while we do it too, which I love. I would love
Absolutely.
to start with a little bit about how you got started in the aesthetics industry. You've worked with some of my favorite brands, and your experience truly is so multifaceted. Can you just walk us through how you got into aesthetics and what brought you to Ourself?
Yeah, sure. So I went to school to teach history. All this just made sense. But I began my career, we won't say how long ago now. I normally say when God was a small child at Chanel, and really spent a lot of that earlier part of my career focused on the image industry component. I was a national makeup artist at Chanel. I've held various roles in education and sales and marketing. I also spent some time at LVMH Group, Moët and Louis Vuitton, um, Group Clarin. So, like some French companies, kind of in the beginning and in the middle. And then I had the opportunity mid career to to go to work for Colmar Labs Group as senior manager of product development and creative initiatives, and I was actually over R&D. So I led a group of three separate labs, and because Colmar, which most people have never heard of, is the largest contract manufacturer of cosmetics, personal care, and OTC products in North America. Because it was big, they kind of got some special attention. So I was very fortunate in that I had the opportunity to interact with a lot of the research docs, the PhDs that were developing new active and functional ingredients. And I was a lucky boy that got to read the white papers and vet the science before we would incorporate something into a brief. If somebody brought it to us, it was a different story. But that was critically important experience for me because we worked with every brand out there, from little to huge, medical to mass market to luxury and prestige. And you kind of get to learn all of the little smoke and mirror marketing tricks that are out there, and the ways to kind of spin things and make it look or sound appealing,
Mm-hmm.
or what we sometimes refer to in the industry as blessing the tank or splashing the tank with a little bit of a call out hero ingredient. So it was really critical experience for me. um, I also mid career left and went back to school to get my license, and made the jump over into medical aesthetics at Color Science about 11 years ago. And initially, that was to join them in an education role, and ended up in sales, and then landed in a global partner marketing manager job there. And then was approached by and ended up joining Alastin Skincare at the not the very beginning of Alastin, but I always say that we weren't the OG, we were the OG facelift edition. I'm a sob guy, so that's a sob term if anybody follows sobs. At any rate, so fairly early on at Alastin, and that experience that I had back in the lab was really critically important, because truthfully, had it not been for that and for kind of understanding how unique and how groundbreaking that science was. I wouldn't have left my, wonderful work from anywhere global partner marketing manager job to come back into sales field. And then fast forward. So a couple of the founders, two of the three founders at Elastin, along with one other really brilliant protein scientist who we'll talk later about, I'm sure, but founded Ourself. And I was just so incredibly impressed with the science and what they were bringing to the table that was really paradigm shifting again. Elastin and Trihex technology was very paradigm shifting in the way that we had treated skin and skin aging. And they've done it all over again in a way that just excites me so much.
And that excitement has definitely come right on to all of us at Beyond Skin Aesthetics, and I can't stop talking about it. There are a couple of different product lines and specific products that when I talk about it with patients or with other people in the industry, they just start laughing and they're like, I'll buy whatever you're talking about because your excitement tells me it's worth it. And that to me is so many different products with Ourself too. And it was kind of just happenstance that we stumbled into Ourself. It was actually Erica, who also has a history with color science too, then Elastin, and then went to Ourself, reached out when I got back from Aesthetic Next and said, hey, I'm in town. I would love to drop off some products. Will you just try it? And I will never say no to trying new products and researching into them because I love to know what's out there. And as soon as I started using it, I hadn't even really researched it too in depth yet, but my skin instantly had a result from it. And 4 days later, I had patients and coworkers saying, okay, what are you doing with your skin? Like, did you have a treatment done? Your skin looks so good. And I realized it was how fast the HA replenishing was working on my skin. It was the only product that I had started using yet. And then I got back to our office and I used the little tester of lip filler, which we will talk about for sure. And I walked up to our injector, forgetting I had put it on 30 minutes before. And she stopped dead in her tracks and said, Delaney, did you get your lips done while you were in Texas? Did you cheat on me? And I turned and I paused and I was like, no, I used this lip plumper product 30 minutes ago. It's that good. And she whipped around. She had started to walk away from me and she whipped around and she was like, I don't know where it's from, but you need to get that in my hands because I'm going to sell it to everybody before we even do lip filler. That is phenomenal. We're going to work on it. And she didn't know the science yet. So then, of course, we start learning more about the science and we get just as excited. We are a practice that we love Elastin science and to continue on with that. And the other thing for us at Beyond Skin that really made us stop is so many of you are from color science, then Elastin, and now are with Ourself. To us, we thought there has to be something to their technology. We want to know more about this because there's no way that they would leave Elastin or, make this transition if there wasn't something to this. And it has to be a segue. Like it has to be somehow connected and progressing in the industry. And so I'm really excited to talk about that today because it is just at the base, the science of skincare. So all that being said, can we talk about the root of Ourself, the tiered release technology that is kind of like the end all be all with Ourself products, as well as kind of like, I guess everything, where it started and where it's gone to?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, first of all, our founders, one of them was a founder at Skin Medica, and Color Science was actually the Skin Medica company at one point in time. Two of them were founders at Elastin. The three founders have a storied history of innovation. Really a talent for uncovering an unmet market need or an opportunity, a place that we can do something different or better or more intelligently, and putting the right people together to make it happen. So, if anybody that you know or love uses continuous blood glucose monitoring devices, my mom does. These are the people that brought that technology to market with Dexcom. If you've had the pleasure of taking COVID tests, these are the folks behind Quidel who had the first emergency use authorization for COVID testing. Prometheus and Novocardia, many successful biotech and pharma companies. And of course, in our arena in medical aesthetics, Skin Medica, Alastin, and now Ourself. So if there was anybody that was going to figure out a way to create science that was even more paradigm shifting than what we've talked about before, probably was going to be these folks. So basically, most of the innovation that we have seen in our industry over the last 30 years has been ingredient focused. And that's wonderful and that's amazing. And I can tell you from my time in the lab, you can have the best ingredient in the world that is able to achieve amazing things in vitro in glass in a petri dish, where you can kind of flood your tissue sample with that active a little bit, or maybe in a different model, it might be 3D skin modeling or an ex vivo where you have a piece intact that is all three layers of the skin, but you still don't have an intact barrier function or an intact inflammatory cascade. So the best ingredient in the world is only going to have limited ability to bring results if you can get that ingredient where it needs to go in order to be efficacious. And that's been the main challenge that we faced in topical skincare forever, really. And we've had limitations of size, what we've long referred to as the 500 Dalton rule. Molecules that are larger than 500 Daltons in molecular weight are too big to make it into the skin on their own. There's also what we've kind of referred to as the 1,000 Dalton rule, meaning that with pretty much the best of commercially available delivery technology, you still have kind of that threshold of around 1,000 Daltons, and you go any beyond that, and the ability to get these molecules into even upper layers of the skin is extremely challenged. And this delivery system that is the star of the show here at Ourself, we know has demonstrated ability to deliver cargoes of at least 4 million Daltons all the way down into the deep dermis. So when I say paradigm shifting, it's opened up a whole new landscape of what we can do, and can do much more effectively that we could never even consider before. So, if you think about peptides, for example, peptides are pretty big molecules. The average peptide's 2,500 Daltons and above. Now, not necessarily the average peptide that we use in skincare, because we've been much more limited in terms of, smaller, shorter chain peptides that we had a chance of getting into upper layers of the skin where they could kind of start playing this telephone game, calling downstairs from one cell to another, with the target of that message pretty much always being our fibroblast cell, which is way down deep in the dermis and the largest component of our skin. So the ability of this tiered release vesicle delivery technology to take these much larger, much more difficult molecules and actually to send them down into those deep layers of the skin where the signal needs to be received keeps me awake at night.
I think that this is truly what got me too, because we have talked since the beginning of time about getting products to that transepidermal layer. But
Yeah.
what's below that? And to me, by being able to actually reach the dermis and create change in the dermal layer, I think of it almost like a biohack. Like we're creating this change at the cell's really development so that it's functioning the correct way all the way up. And you have a beautiful way of explaining how this technology works too in an elevator state of way. And I never say it as eloquently as you do. Can you explain kind of that elevator concept of the releasing?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, with the best of commercially available delivery technology, which would be a liposome, you have a lipid or sometimes a phospholipid bilayer that encapsulates an aqueous core into which we can load ingredients. And that lipid bilayer helps to repel the water from our initial barrier, our hydrolipidic film, and it mixes in with the lipid component. And it enables you to go a little bit deeper so that you're getting those ingredients down into upper layers of skin. The way that skin cells are organized in the stratum corneum and in the epidermis, they're kind of arranged in this brick and mortar like structure, where the mortar that separates them is more lipid And very much like that outer lipid barrier, the job of the skin is to keep things out or to keep things in. So in healthy people, our skin is doing its job when it keeps stuff out, right? So this technology is sort of like a very sophisticated liposome inside a very sophisticated liposome inside a very sophisticated liposome, 18 to 50 layers. So not only are you kind of getting past the hydrolipidic film, getting down into upper layers of skin, even with the best of what we've had for the last 40 years, a liposome, you're only going to go so far before you shed that bilayer. And then your ingredients are just kind of dropped off wherever that happens at whatever layer of the skin. But with the tiered release vesicle, wait, there's more. We go down, we shed a bilayer, we drop off ingredients. We go down further, shed another bilayer, drop off ingredients with demonstrated delivery all the way down into the deep dermis. And one of the brilliant things that our founders have figured out how to do is the incorporation of cationic or positively charged penetration enhancing ingredients, because so many of the molecules that we love and that we talk about all the time, things like hyaluronic acid, in addition to being way too big, also weirdly shaped and also very polar. It carries a strong negative charge. Peptides, strong negative charge. It could go on and on and on. Guess what else is negatively charged? Our skin. So by the nature of these molecules, they want to stay on top of our skin, but it's also made putting these types of ingredients into a liposome very challenging, because not only do they want to stay outside of our skin, they don't want to be in close proximity to one another. So these positively charged penetration enhancing ingredients let us for the first time bring efficacious levels of these much larger, more powerful, more efficacious ingredients into a delivery system that's finally capable of taking them down close to where they need to go in order to send the signal to be effective.
Which is the coolest thing. And when you think about it from a like visual perspective, if you think about these ingredients getting off at every single layer and doing its job, you're getting nourishment all the way down to the base of your skin so that it can function the best way. And we're so focused on barrier function. We're so focused on health. And that is what this is doing. And it's incredible that this technology can be so precise as it is absorbing into the skin and actually get where it needs to go.
One of the really cool things that we can do is we can load the vesicle in such a way as to drop off certain targeted ingredients at upper layers of the skin and different ingredients at lower layers as the vesicle goes down. So the ones that we
So
would
cool.
want at upper layers are on the outside, and then the ones we want deeper are closer to the inside. But it's just, again, it's a whole new landscape of what we can potentially do with the topical.
It's so calculated and so precise to drive results and drive results quickly. And as a
Yeah.
practitioner, this is something that I am very passionate about of I need my patients to hold on long enough to see a result. And if they can see a result in amplified time, I can trust that they're going to get the result to begin with, but it's also fast enough where they're not going to give up. That helps with my patient care, my patient satisfaction. They trust me. They're
Yeah.
getting the results that they want. That's obviously a great look for Beyond Skin Aesthetics, but it's also bettering their lives and their skin and getting them to their goals quicker. And that's what we want to do. That's our whole goal in aesthetics.
Absolutely. I mean, hopefully we are all in this to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And the skin is the largest organ in the human body. It's the first thing that we see. And as you know, when people are coming into the treatment room and they're expressing what concerns them, that is a level of trust and vulnerability that makes that relationship incredibly powerful. And so to be able to offer something that is going to work, but is going to work quickly. And I
Mm-hmm.
always think about our first web meeting together, and I was asking you about how long it took for you to see results, which you just shared earlier. And
Yeah.
the thing about that is you were using really good skincare to begin with.
From 21 years
And
old. Like I
yeah,
started early,
yeah.
so and it's been so long that I mean my skin is very healthy and I've been using some of the best of the best.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And my experience was very much the same. So, I always love it when I hear that. We would always rather underpromise and overdeliver, but
Hmm.
certainly one of the benefits that this technology offers is much more regenerative activity in the skin and faster visible results for the patient. So that, to your point, makes it easier to be compliant when you actually can see that it's doing something for you quickly.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to talk about some of my favorite products. And honestly, if we can hit all of them, that's great. But I feel like knowing the two of us, we're going to get really into what is going on with each of these products. So I want to hit three specifically. One, I
Okay.
want to talk about lip filler. I want to talk about HA replenishing, and I want to talk about complexion brightening that is brand new to the collection. Those to me are like the three hero products of the line. Would you say that? Or I feel like
Yeah.
it's trying to choose your favorite child. Like it's hard
I
to
know it's
even
hard,
narrow
right?
it down.
I'm obsessed with our eye treatment. It's the
Oh
lightest weight yet most hydrating I feel like I've ever used. But
yeah.
yeah, I
Mhm.
would say those are probably the heroes, the one everybody knows about. We give them the most airtime for sure.
Yes. Okay, let's start. I think let's end with lip filler because I to
Okay.
me that even though it's creating actual change to the tissue, um, that's a little bit more just cosmetic versus talking about that regeneration of the skin. So let's start with HA replenishing. Tell us about HA replenishing. Why is it
Yeah.
so fabulous?
So if I were stranded on a deserted island, hopefully there would be palm trees for some shade, but then I could only have one thing, hands down, HA plus replenishing serum. So the vesicle, our tiered release vesicle technology, protected by 8 issued patents, which we're proud of, but that's the engine that powers everything. So we're sending down two sizes of hydrated hyaluronic acid. Now, otherwise, without the vesicle, all hyaluronic acid's too big to be able to penetrate. You've got, again, that 500 to 1,000 Dalton window. We're sending down 50,000 and 250,000 Dalton molecular weight hyaluronic acid that's also already hydrated, so it doesn't need to rob water from its surroundings. So that helps to provide hydration, obviously a synergistic volumization. Interestingly, and we don't make this claim, but there is a lot of published study data out there that speaks to this hybrid combination of low and medium molecular weight HA for tissue regeneration, wound healing, addressing inflammation, and even in the treatment of certain inflammatory issues. And I am a miserable skin. That relationship, I think, for many of us is so personal because some of us have had struggles along the way, and I have suffered from pretty debilitating chronic inflammatory issues, seborrheic dermatitis, rosacea, all of my adult life. And so when I started using this product, and there was a product from the company where I was before that I thought they would bury me like with one in my arms because it was so
Yes.
transformative. And trying to figure out how this product was actually working better for my skin, this was kind of what I came to from a science perspective. But it could be a couple of different products just for that right there. It also, though, has another exciting ingredient from South Korea that dramatically increases our skin's own synthesis of hyaluronic acid from within, and then a separate ingredient that is down regulating hyaluronidase. Hyaluronidase is an enzyme that our body naturally produces that breaks down hyaluronic acid within the skin. Normally, HA has a shelf life of about 3 to 5 days, and then we break it down, we recycle it, we reuse it, we make more. So we're adding more, we're increasing the synthesis, and then we're prolonging the life of HA that's already in the skin. And then there's another really exciting ingredient from South Korea, a newer form of vitamin C. It's a stable mineral salt that's bringing L-ascorbic acid together with another skin conditioning ingredient. It is much more stable. And we aren't the only ones that have this particular ingredient, but we're the only ones that have the ability to send it down in the vesicle into deep layers of skin where it needs to go to work. And then peptides. So could be completely separate products for the elastin and collagen peptides. One of our founders is a brilliant protein scientist. who has a structural biologist who's basically spent his career mapping proteins for work in oncology and infectious diseases and immunology. Really was part of the team that developed the first HIV drug. So the peptides that we have are super, super exciting. And we have an exclusive sequence, a proprietary version of hexapeptide 9 that was just too big to be able to use before. It's got a molecular weight of between 1400 and 1500 Daltons. And that particular sequence is 20% more effective than the next best thing at bringing about new elastin synthesis. So really exciting things there. And then we're using a more bioactive, more bioavailable version of a very popular collagen peptide. It's long been a gold standard for collagen, but what I didn't realize is that most peptides that we use, and if you look on the outside of your bottle on the ingredient list, before the name of the peptide, you'll see the word palmitoyl or myristoyl or acetyl, where basically to get the peptide past the barrier and into even upper layers of the skin where it can start playing the telephone game, calling downstairs to the fibroblast, you have to attach these groups, usually a fatty acid group. And that helps to kind of get past the hydrolipidic film and to mix in with some lipid in the upper layers of the skin. The challenge is that when you attach these other groups to the peptide, you've changed the shape of the peptide. And now it no longer wants to fit into the intended receptor. And basically, before it can get into the receptor and do any good signaling wise, it has to hang out until you can metabolize away or cleave off that added bit. And in many cases, those additions are irreversible. So we don't need that because we're sending the peptide down in the vesicle much deeper, much into the layers of skin where the fibroblast lives. But because we don't have to add those additional groups, we're sending a version of the peptide that's more bioavailable, more bioactive. It can get to work faster. And that, of course, translates into faster results for the patient as well.
Absolutely. This is adding bounce to your skin. This is adding vibrancy to your skin. This is firming your skin and helping to have more of that snatched appearance. Something that I have talked about for years at this point is, especially as somebody that struggles with rosacea, and this is definitely a bonding topic for the two of us.
It is
the specificity of the vitamin C that you use, because it can be inflammatory versus anti-inflammatory, and it can be definitely more of a pain point versus actually benefiting your skin. And I get asked with this product, is this a safe vitamin C? And I get so excited to say, yes, this is a rosacea safe vitamin C. This isn't going to be super inflammatory. I've had a similar result. It actually was more anti-inflammatory to my skin using it. And I was shocked because I didn't think that I could find something that was going to be more anti-inflammatory. This product too, I think all of those things, all of the jobs that it does. I think my favorite part is that it replaces so many things. So it is simplifying your routine with a power punch. It is doing the best job possible for all these things. So it's not like you're almost like you're blessing the tank in your routine a little bit, where it's like, oh, I'm kind of helping this and I'm kind of helping that, but it really is doing the job of multiple things. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it can act as basically your collagen and elastin building product. So you're kind of like all over, quote unquote, anti-aging product that you are using. It's your vitamin C. It's your hyaluronic acid. It helps around your eye area, although we love the eye product as well.
Plumping and smoothing.
Yes.
Yeah. And all of our products are ocular tested. So yeah, you can use it around your eye. We have a separate eye because that does some additional things, but yeah, spot on.
Yeah, does that as well. Neck as well, which I feel like is something that we're normally trying to target the neck area because the skin is slightly different than your face.
It is.
That you need something different, but because of the delivery system, it's able to really do its job that way. Am I missing something? Did I cover all the bases there?
Yeah, no. I mean, for most people, it'll take the place of 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 or more different products. And the really crazy thing is because of the delivery mechanism, it actually is able to do that more effectively than those individual products were able to.
And something for patients as well is patients want to do more with their budgets for their aesthetic treatments and products. And what I love is that this is a reasonable price point. This isn't a $500 serum that's doing all of this stuff. It's basically the price of one product instead of five products when it comes to the quality that you're getting as well. So it's actually helping, it's girl math. This is helping our patients budget as well as getting them even better results.
And helping them to be compliant, as you said earlier. So it's a
Yes.
win-win-win.
Absolutely. Okay, so quickly after we brought on Ourself, complexion brightening serum launched. And this was something that was so cool to learn about, and I have loved being able to use as well. And you talk about it, of course, you talk about it so well, but from a rosacea standpoint, aside from just the actual, brightening and pigment addressing that it does, can you walk us through complexion brightening and how it is helping with inflammation as well as pigment?
Yeah, so it's doing a couple of things. Interestingly, you kind of mentioned this with vitamin C earlier, but um, retinol is one of the things that I'm told by several of my close dermatologist friends in the beginning days they would recommend for rosacea-prone people. And most of us hear that and we think about how reactive we are to retinol. It's like, wait, what?
Mhm.
But if you have the ability to get that ingredient unoxidized, still in its active form, and it's highly unstable. Vitamin C, highly unstable. Retinol, and vitamin C, both very unstable ingredients. The moment they're exposed to air or to heat or to light, they begin to break down and oxidize. And when that happens, they're no longer able to bring about that beneficial effect for our skin. But adding insult to injury, when they break down, they do some collateral damage along the way. So a lot of that irritation, the redness, the peeling, the itching, the flaking, the things that sadly a lot of us have associated with these ingredients working isn't the ingredient working, it's the ingredient breaking down. So the correct form and delivery system, you shouldn't have to experience all of that. And the ability to get some of these ingredients down into layers of skin in their active form without breaking down, without causing that irritation, means that we're able to do more. Um, so the retinol is certainly one of those. A really important one within complexion brightening serum is tranexamic acid. So tranexamic acid, I feel like has been a buzz ingredient for the last 5 or 6 years. We talk about it a lot. For people treating pigment, um, we probably talk about it a lot because there were initially some really good results using it orally. Again, I'm told by many of my physician friends that there are some challenges around that. There's not really, necessarily a widely accepted dosing protocol. You have to think about systemic toxicity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, things that are way beyond my ability to think about. But the challenge when you use it topically, it's not a very big molecule. It's relatively low molecular weight, but it is super polar. It is very charged, very strongly negatively charged, very water loving. And so the ability to get it into skin at all is extremely challenged. And so when we were developing this product, we studied both in a liposome as well as in our tiered release vesicle or our TRV delivery system. And when delivered within a liposome, we used Raman spectroscopy to back this up, but you were only able to get tranexamic acid into the stratum corneum, which is the outer kind of horny layer, we usually call it, of our skin. Pigment happens much deeper, at the deep layers of the epidermis and the upper layers of the dermis. And we were able to demonstrate with that Raman spectroscopy that we were placing tranexamic acid precisely where it needs to go. Now, why is that important for irritation? Tranexamic acid does many things around pigment, but the most important thing that it does is it downregulates plasminogens, which form prostaglandins, which are key inflammatory markers. And this whole process of pigment is really set off by inflammation. So it has, for those of us that are rosacea prone, kind of another little maybe side effect for people who are sensitive. I don't want to really talk about a medical condition because that's different territory. But
Mhm.
for people who are sensitive, and I think you and I may have talked about this before. When I initially started using this product, we had a prior version that was designed to be more preventive, where complexion brightening serum was always going to be the corrective product.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to make a case for us keeping that product around. And so, just playing devil's advocate, I didn't shave or wash my face for 4 days trying to force a flare, which it was meager compared to what my flares used to look like. And then I started using HA replenishing along with complexion brightening serum. And the amount of healing within 20 hours and then 24 hours after that and 24 hours after that, I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, we don't need to keep the other one around. This one is going to be well tolerated by everybody. And I actually don't have one because my lab sample I gave to a doctor. But as soon as I am able to get my hands on one again, it's absolutely a product that I'll continue to use, if nothing else, because of what it does for my redness and because it's a retinol that
Mm-hmm.
finally I can tolerate.
It almost feels hydrating to me as well. Does it actually hydrate, or does it just have that kind of softer feel when paired with other ones?
So there's not the hyaluronic acid within the vesicle in complexion brightening serum. So we don't necessarily make a hydrating claim
Mm-hmm.
with it, but certainly there are some components to the vesicle itself that can
Soothe.
make it feel
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it can soothe. It
Exactly.
feels, it's almost like I overuse this word, but it almost has like a buttery finish to it where it's just like very
Yeah.
soft and nourishing of a feel to it. It pairs
Mhm.
very beautifully with HA plus replenishing. Like it is
Yeah.
the two together. Oh, chef's kiss. So good together.
A secret combination, right?
So good. And as a rosacea heavily sensitized girl myself, using those two products, actually this past week, I normally have on my tinted sunscreen or makeup or something, but
Mhm.
I was barefaced because I was getting treated in the office. So my entire team was able to actually see my skin. And I was showing them how the actual redness flushing has completely been removed from my skin. It is nearly impossible for me to do that. And I'm the same as you. I will force a flare to see how things will do. And
How I'm going to tolerate it. Yeah.
yes, and I mean, I have to have the stars have to be perfectly aligned for me to have a day where I do not have flushing on top of just the vascular redness that is always there for me. And the flushing was completely gone. And they were able to see actually the individual blood vessels, which they had never been able to see before with my rosacea. And it was one of those like jaw drop moments of, wow, this routine is kind of it. Like this is the it girl routine at the moment for you. This is doing it.
Well, I mean, it really is. And, selfishly, you and I are talking about why this product is so important to
Yep.
us. But one of the things that's really important, I think, for people to understand is when you are treating pigment, reds lead to browns.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to address both, there is one of our founders, again, brilliant protein scientist, a new proprietary patented peptide that is in complexion brightening serum that has twice the binding ability of anything else out there to block the receptor on melanocytes that tell them to begin making tyrosinase, the enzyme that actually is responsible for synthesizing pigment. You've got 4-butyrylsorcinol that works the way that hydroquinone does by binding to the active receptor sites on tyrosinase that it uses to make pigment. You've got the stabilized vitamin C, the niacinamide. It is really before, during, and after the pigmentation process in just this brilliant way. And then retinol linoleate, this more gentle form of retinol that is retinol brought together with linoleic acid. And the linoleic acid actually does some really exciting things too.
I love it for pigment patients because it works really fast. Like we mentioned before with HA plus
Yeah.
replenishing, we need that fast, especially with pigment. I have found that pigment patients give up almost as fast as my redness sensitized rosacea patients. I would say acne holds on the most. It's almost like acne patients know it's going to take a while. But those two camps, I mean, if you don't get results within 2-3 weeks or even start seeing results, they just throw their hands up and they're like, nothing is ever going to work for me. Can we talk about the time frame that complexion brightening starts to show some results and what your studies have showed in comparison with hydroquinone and other things on the market?
So one of the things that we're so excited about, and one of the things that, of course, is such a game changer with the delivery technology, and if we could get our VP of R&D, Tina Fleck, who is absolutely brilliant, when she first came here and learned about our delivery technology, she will tell you the first thing she thought of was treating pigment, because it is so challenging, as you just
Hmm.
mentioned, and it has always been so slow, that it was difficult to get people to hang on, to the
Yeah.
point that you would get results. So the delivery mechanism is, again, paradigm shifting, and we would still rather under promise and over deliver, but in the clinical studies, we have demonstrated results, measurable, good results in as little as 2 weeks. And I would always ask you, I mean, what are you seeing in practice from your patients? Because the before and after pictures that we have coming to us from real practice in the treatment room are inspirational. And in so many cases, people that have tried so many different things, that have tried prescriptions, that have tried multiple procedures, and just nothing has really worked, where finally it looks like we're able to get them kind of over the
Over that hump.
precipice a little bit, to which is, as we know, when you deal with issues like that, it's debilitating. I
Hmm.
mean, we're all our own worst enemy. I think we're all more hypercritical, but such a powerful thing when you can bring something that really is potentially life altering for somebody.
It absolutely is. And I think that from a pigment standpoint, what many people don't recognize is the aging perception of somebody that has pigment. They can have the most gorgeous, smooth, I mean, they can look like they have 20-year-old skin at 30 or 30-year-old skin at 40. But if they have pigment, their perception and others' perception is that they have older skin. So in
Right.
this, slowing down the clock effort, treating pigment is crucial for helping patients feel confident in their own skin. So I love that results are coming that fast. And like I mentioned before, for my patients, I love that they start to see results quickly. Honestly, my patients, what I've seen in practice is that within the first week, they're like, I think this product is doing something. Am I crazy? Is it actually making a change that fast? And then by week 2,
Yeah.
week 3, they're sending me pictures of, look how much better this specific spot that I always stare at in the mirror looks, or whatever it may be. But it really is kind of a broad, all over, even brightening of the skin, an even complexion, which is, again, chef's kiss. We have so many chef's kiss moments with it.
I know.
Love it.
I wish I could take credit for some of that, but I'm not the brains behind it. We did. I will point out, though, have some great results for melasma,
Yeah.
and at the end of a 12-week study, it was showing a 75% improvement from baseline, which is, yes, you get results very quickly for some people. Not everybody is going to see results that fast.
Mhm.
But at the end of that 12 weeks for melasma patients, we were showing a 75% improvement from where they started from.
Which is absolutely incredible. Oh my gosh. Okay. This specific product, I feel like I could talk about all day long, but I want to make sure that we fit in time for all the rest of my questions that I came with a laundry list of for today. So let's move on to talking about lip filler. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I love how eye catching the name is, because when I will post online of like, pick up your lip filler or I can ship out your lip filler, people are like, you're doing what? Like, you're shipping out lip filler? You should not be shipping lip filler to people.
Right,
Tell us
right.
about, what is this product?
So replenishing lip filler. So originally, I think when this technology was developed, and because we have the ability to send really large, difficult molecules like full-size hydrated hyaluronic acid through the skin without a needle, it's like, oh, well, we could do a needleless lip filler, and very different than all the other lip plumpers that are on the market
Hmm.
that basically work by kind of irritating, creating a histamine response, and providing some swelling that is going to last for an hour or two. This is cumulative, and we are actually sending that full-size hydrated hyaluronic acid down into the deep dermis without a needle. So when we started this, we started out with 500,000 Dalton molecular weight HA. We arrived at our combination of 50K and 250K because we found it gave the best synergistic volumization. And the original form of this product was very simple. We updated it earlier this year. And the one that you have and that you got to experience is replenishing lip filler, which is the new and improved. So the original one really just had the 2 molecular weights of hyaluronic acid and benzyl nicotinoate, which is a vasodilator. It helps to restore pretty quickly some color to the lip. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that we lose as we walk through life. So really nice formula. People loved it, but we're never going to rest on our laurels. And when we saw the opportunity to make it better, to make it easier to be compliant and actually to do more, now the formula has been enhanced with the ingredients that help to increase our own synthesis of HA, with the hyaluronidase inhibitor to prolong the life of hyaluronic acid that's already in the skin, already in our lip. The elastin and collagen peptides, additional peptides which help with more collagens 3 and 4, to improve definition at the vermilion border. We have other ingredients that improve microcirculation for a more lasting improvement in color, ingredients that help to help fat cells' ability to work a little bit better. And then another sensorial ingredient that I have to tell you, I was on the fence about in the beginning, and I'm so obsessed with it. It kind of makes your lips feel like they're vibrating. So if you use this product, the ingredient is xantholoxum bunchianum. It's also referred to as Szechuan peppercorn, although it's not a pepper, it's not capsaicin, anything like that. But it's used in Chinese herbal medicine as a numbing agent, and it just sort of makes your lips feel like they're vibrating. So I always tell people, if you use this and you feel that, you're not having a reaction, you're not having a stroke. It's supposed to do that, but I am obsessed with that, and it helps to make me more compliant with it. So 2 applications in the morning and 2 in the evening. And it is a cumulative benefit, but we were able to show results demonstrated with the 3D volumetric camera of as much as 0.86 cc's of added volume in as little as 1 week.
Think about that, friends. You can basically be doing lip filler at home. And I hate to say that, but I will say our injector, Alicia, loves to use this as a tool towards her better results for her patients, especially those that come in and they're like, I have no upper lip and this is what my goal is. She'll have them start there and then come back in for their in-office treatment, or vice versa. Maybe, they have a little bit of volume already, or they have a little bit of shape where she can go ahead and inject and get a beautiful result. But then they then have that control at home to continue to add volume, help to smooth out those fine lines and wrinkles, look a little bit more hydrated to the skin, give a little bit more color. That's something that I actually already struggle with, is having color everywhere on my lips. I feel like the closer you get to that border, it just kind of fades away, and I have no definition whatsoever. But I love using my lip filler pen for exactly that. It's just so much fun. It's a great gift because this is something that, especially those that love that, they love their lip liner and their lipstick and their lip glosses, or they are thinking about that they want lip filler of some sort. This is a great gift, stocking stuffers, as we're in the holiday time frame. Be able to toss towards somebody, birthday gift. This is something that you can get somebody, and it's pretty universal that everybody will love it. And I love that too. It's an easy present side of things.
It is. And it works on its own,
Mm-hmm.
but I just want to be very clear. Nothing is going to take the place of what a skilled injector can do with the needle, but this is a really great complement.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, whether it's, getting started and you want to build a little bit of volume before you have injections, or if you want to kind of try lip filler on, or if you've had lip filler and you want to get that nice kind of freshly filled, smooth look. It's great for that, or to give a little bit more life to the filler that you have. So it's a really exciting product, and it does now have some longer term lip health benefits as well.
I think that if you were going to try anything from Ourself, I would say grab one of the treatment products. So grab either HA Plus replenishing or complexion brightening. You're going to end up falling in love with the other one. So you could just go ahead and get both. But, whichever one sounds most inviting to you, get one of those and then try lip filler as well. Like do those and then slowly add to your collection. And they're kind of like the Labubu craze. Once you start with one, you've got to, and everybody else is like, why are you so obsessed until they have one? I don't have a Labubu. I've just observed, I have my own Labubu, which is a 9-month-old son, and he's got the teeth and everything.
He's precious.
I think he's the cutest of them all, but
For sure.
that's how I would get started on Ourself. Okay, we are getting very close to time here, which means that you are just going to have to come back at some point so that we can continue going, especially as Ourself continues to develop and reformulate and advance, because I know the team behind Ourself will not stop here. It is just going to keep getting better. But I do like to ask all of my guests the same question, which is, because we are on the Bright Side of Beauty podcast, what is beautiful to you, Ryan?
I love that question, first of all. I think kindness. Kindness is the most beautiful thing of spirit. And I think that transforms into the physical being. And I think it is the most noble garment with which any of us may clothe ourselves. So kindness, but also coming from my own journey, not dissimilar to yours. And, we all create those imaginary weak points that when we stare in the mirror, we notice. But when you mention, so, I think having the confidence of knowing that you look, feel, are the very best version of ourself. And that really is something that comes from healthy skin.
So beautifully said.
Oh, bless you.
That is, I could not agree more with all of that. There's something about the way that people carry themselves with that light and grace and kindness and confidence that they are themselves. When you are yourself, it is beautiful. It is beautiful to be uniquely yourself. And that is, maybe we just need to put like a little Y in front of Ourself and put it all together there.
We do that a lot, actually. We're asked about this all the time because it's such a weird name for a skincare brand, but that's kind of a little bit of my take, at least, on how the name came into being. We all want to look, feel, and be the very best version of ourselves.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that is where it came from. I was wondering where the name came from, to be honest, because it's very unique.
So weird, right?
I mean, I feel like skincare lines, especially in the medical aesthetics arena, they're very out there names, but Ourself is a very normal name, yet unique in its own way. So I love that, because we all want to be the best version of ourselves, and we're ever evolving. And from the creators, the science is ever evolving too. And I think that reflects back on the person too. So it's all one synergistic story. That is beautiful.
It really is. It really is. I consider myself so fortunate and so grateful to be a part of an organization like this with amazing next level science that's going to make life better for a lot of people, but also an amazing group of folks too. And so grateful to you for allowing me to be here with you today.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You do have one of the very best teams that you work with. You are very blessed. We are blessed to work with you as well. Thank you so much for joining today on the Bright Side of Beauty. Before we go, where can everybody reach out to get more information about Ourself? Where can they connect with you? If you can drop your Instagram handle or any other information on how they can get in touch with Ourself and with you if they want to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in learning more about Ourself, you want us to put you in contact with a local strategic business manager, you can go to ourself.com, and there is an inquiry link that you can fill out there. If you want to get in contact with me, education at ourself.com, and would love to answer any questions that you have. And also I can help to put you in contact with a strategic business manager in your area as well.
Amazing. Ryan, thank you so much for joining today. I'm so glad I can call you a friend, and I can't wait to officially be in the same exact place with you and be real life friends in the next
Me
month
too.
as well.
Yes.
All right. I will see you so soon, friend. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You too, my friend.